A new film from the director of The Last Jedi. I do suspect foul play. Salutations, everyone. This is D Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And today, I'm coming to you all with a review for Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, written and directed by Rian Johnson, and starring Daniel Craig, Edward Norton, and Janelle Monáe. Story-wise, the film once again follows Master Detective Benoit Blanc as he travels to Greece to take on a new case involving a billionaire, his rather eccentric group of friends, and one extremely chaotic murder mystery party. So, I'm going to start with the pros. There was so much to enjoy here, and I'm not really surprised. So naturally, this is the follow-up / sequel to 2019's Knives Out. I have to say that I've been a massive whodunit fan since I was very, very young, and that is primarily due to the influences of Agatha Christie and Professor Quicksolve. So pretty much any variation of that genre or subgenre, I'm always here for. I think what made the first one so enjoyable was this really unique ensemble cast and this very unexpected performance from Daniel Craig, who, as my friends mentioned, is giving his best Foghorn Leghorn impression.
You know what the back's for? No, no, boy. You're supposed to hit the ball with it. The ball!
It was just a nice change of pace to see him in that type of role. And then, of course, we have this very creepy, very claustrophobic environment with this house and, these family members who may or may not be lying and hiding secrets. Just the dynamics of that made it something really fun and distinctive. A lot of my appreciation for Rian Johnson comes from the film Looper. That is definitely up there as one of my favorite science fiction films of the past decade. I just love the entire vision for that world that's being showcased, especially in regards to the future. And although it does take certain ideas that we have seen before, I think that it definitely subverts it so that it stands out and it distinguishes itself from similar films that have explored that before. So personally, that was my overall awareness of Rian Johnson as a director. But of course, I have to address the elephant in the room. Were there some cool ideas there? Yes. But was I a fan overall? Absolutely not. But I digress. I love the fact that regardless of Rian Johnson, we are getting something that is modern, that is original, and is a completely unique take on the mystery genre and in place for today's audiences. I did think that story-wise, the twists and the turns for me were absolutely superior to the first film. There's something that the first film did that, although I get that it was trying to be different, it really did not work for me, and it kind of disconnected me from the film just as far as the experience of it. I'll get into that a little more in the cons, but I will say that this film definitely kept me guessing, and it certainly subverted my expectations. When I thought I had it figured out, there were some curveballs that were thrown at me. Didn't see them coming. I also thought the score was really on point. I loved how odd and quirky it was, and just some of the little riffs and sounds that we would hear throughout the film. I just loved how it set the tone, especially considering some of the hijinks that we see going on. Our music composer here is none other than Nathan Johnson, who is actually Rian Johnson's cousin. This marks their 5th collaboration working together after Brick, The Brothers Bloom, Looper, my favorite, and of course the predecessor to this film, the first Knives Out. He also composed the score for 2021's remake of Nightmare Alley. Although I did love the aesthetics of the first film, especially with the Clue esque vibes we got of the home and the gloom and doom of it all, and this very foreboding, aesthetic. I do like seeing the contrast with us hopping over to Greece. We have sunshine and blue skies and greenery and even bluer water and marble and columns, and we get all of that here. And I mean, it's really enjoyable to watch. And it is a complete 180 from the first film. This was actually filmed on Spetses, which is an island in Greece. And the central filming location was the Amman Resort's Villa 20 in Porto Heli. I think the visuals and the locations really speak for themselves. Every shot, every frame of the villa, of the island, of the water, the cliffs and all that, I was 100% here for it all. I absolutely wanted to be there. So, yeah, it's safe to say it was very effective. Daniel Craig is once again very solid as our lead, Benoit Blanc. And it's really something to see the distinction in the roles that Daniel Craig takes. From the Bond films to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo to Logan Lucky and now the Knives Out films. He is definitely an actor who has a whole lot of range, and he will definitely keep you guessing with his roles. If you look up what film he's going to be starring in next, you would see that that's still very much keeping in line with that. He's always willing to switch it up, and that's something I really do appreciate about him as an actor, and it really shows in his performances. So yes, I was once again here for Daniel Craig and all of his foghorn leghorn glory. Much like the first film, we are once again getting a very eclectic and quirky ensemble cast. In addition to our main three stars, we also have Kathryn Hahn, we have Leslie Odom Jr., we have Kate Hudson, we have Jessica Henwick, and Dave Bautista, and I thought it was quite hilarious and even awkward in some moments, really exploring these characters' personalities, their outlooks on life, and just seeing their interactions with each other. But I have to say that the clear showstopper in this film was Janelle Monáe, without a doubt. I was already excited because I've been a fan of Janelle Monáe since she first debuted as a musical artist. I remember when she came out with the song Tightrope, and she had her suit and her pompadour and just her whole style and vibe, and I remember just being so excited, and I've been a fan of her music, seeing her evolve, and even regarding her transition over to film and acting, it's been pretty effortless, in my opinion. Singer turned actress does not necessarily have a positive connotation, but I think that she's shown with her performances that she has the range, she has the ability. I think she's done a solid job. She's been in Moonlight, she's been in Hidden Figures, Harriet, and Antebellum. I've enjoyed her performances in all of those films. And not to take away from anyone else, but she is the clear star of this film, and it's for a reason. I loved all the different layers of her character. She was mysterious, she was charming, she was alluring, and she was unexpectedly funny in certain moments, which I wasn't expecting. Her character especially kept my emotions on a bit of a roller coaster because there were moments when I was intrigued, then I was mad, then I was surprised, and then I was confused. And then, it was like, oh, I see what we're doing here. So, yes, I'll have to leave it at that because I obviously don't want to spoil anything, but it'll be interesting when everyone sees the film and they get a sense of what's going on with that character. And lastly, let me say that there were some really surprising cameos in this film, two of which really shocked me because of recent circumstances. So it was a very bittersweet experience seeing them. You'll know what I mean once you see who it is, and that was a little mind-blowing for me, and it definitely caught me off guard. It's not a bad thing, but like I said, it is very much bittersweet. All right, now I'm gonna jump over to the cons. This film is definitely a fun time, lots of noteworthy aspects to it, but I would be remiss if I didn't remark on a few of the flaws. Now, although I just mentioned everything that was enjoyable about the first film, let me also say that I did not love the first film. On a basic level, it was enjoyable, but there were some choices made in the first film that just didn't click with me, particularly an early reveal we got. And that didn't really work for me. Again, I get that we were trying to do something different, but it was just like, that's not, no. So I didn't really get back on board after that happened. And I walked away fine with it, but a little bit underwhelmed. Although I will say that a second watch did help, and being aware of certain clues and certain foreshadowing was like, oh, okay, wait. Now I appreciate this a bit more. I kind of see what you were doing. But yet and still, those issues were still ever present. And I can say that this film shares some of those same issues, although I think overall it does improve a lot upon what didn't work in the first film. One of my biggest issues here is the pacing. If you know me, you know I'm not someone who needs. No, please, by all means, let's slow down. Let's get a sense of what's going on. Let's establish everything. That is totally fine. But I found that with the first act, it really, it really started to stretch. And I think it was more so with the dialogue and the conversations. I think I was fine, for a good while. And then we got to this scene where all the characters are gathered together in the living room, and the conversations are still going, and we're having all this dialogue, and I'm a dialogue person, but it just was like, all right, like, can we, move this along? So I think it kind of spins its wheels a bit. Like I said, we obviously have to establish everything, but to me, it took too much time to do that, and I don't think it was as necessary given how things progress throughout the story. I think it improves a lot. It really picks up after the first big moment. And, I think from then on I was good, but I will say I was kind of fading fast. It was kind of losing me. I was like, all right, when are we when are we gonna get it going? Some of the characters felt like they were just there and they didn't really stand out. And maybe just as far as the general plot, I was hoping that they might contribute a bit more. There is an overarching story that's happening, but all the characters didn't necessarily click, and I don't think they were all utilized as well as they could have been. Lastly, as far as the ending, I was cool with it, but I also thought there was something kind of goofy and kind of off-putting about the way it all plays out. I was just kind of like, what's happening here? I think that while this film does a lot that is superior to the first film, I think the final reveal and the ending in general was significantly better and executed a lot better in the first film. That was more effective to me, whereas this felt just a bit clumsier and messier. I don't think either film is quite as clever as it's trying to be, which is also kind of awkward to watch. But if we are talking about the final conclusion, the full circle moment, then I think the first film really hit it home as far as that. Whereas this film is just kind of strange in the way it tries to execute that. So I'm going to give Glass Onion a B minus. Like I said, it's really difficult to go into this film and not enjoy it or have fun with it to some degree. From the setting, to the ensemble cast, to the performances, to the twists and turns, to the comedy, to the visuals and locations, this film is very much in place to engage one or more of your senses in some way. And it really is effective on that level. There are a few elements that kind of detracted from the experience, but I wouldn't say that there was anything that just outright killed it for me. Let me also say that I really appreciate being able to see this in the theater. Now, I don't know why this was only available for a week, but that's not my business. I really, really hope that this is not the last time that Netflix chooses to do this. But considering that Netflix has made a lot of questionable decisions as of late, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, will be streaming on Netflix December 23rd. You guys are free to check it out, leave your thoughts below, and let me know what you think. So, once again, this is D, Movie Man, signing off, and I'll see you with the movies.